Welcome to Costly Conversations. I'm super excited because we have the one and only John from the Gun Collective, and we're going to talk about GunCon. What is GunCon? Do we dress up for GunCon? Do we cosplay a little bit? Can I go as Budget Colion Noir? Yes, I've been called that before. I'm not even offended. That said, onto the show. John, what is up? What's going on?
Hi.
What's going
Hi.
on?
How are you?
Hey man, it's good to see you, buddy. I'm so
It's good to
glad
be
you
here.
you agreed to come on to talk about GunCon.
Yeah.
First of
Yeah.
all, for those who are for some reason unfamiliar, they should be ashamed of themselves. Who is John Patton?
I'm just a guy that makes videos about guns and puts them on the internet.
I mean, that's simple enough. Simple enough.
It's a gross oversimplification, but
No, I mean it is. Like honestly, it's that's a little bit way too simple. I mean, right now you're doing something really cool called I guess the Gun Collective News. You do the 60-second reels, which are super tight. I'm not sure who taught you how to make reels, but you're killing it in those. And of course, there's the longer videos, which I thoroughly enjoy, where we talk
well, thank
about
you.
gun news, the only gun news that we actually care about. So I mean that's the tagline. So
Look, if you just say it over and over again, it becomes true.
yeah, a little bit of brainwashing there. You're trying to
Yeah.
just inception
Yeah.
the idea, like, hey, you actually care about this news.
Right. Right. It's trickery. There's trickery afoot.
Trickery afoot.
Yeah, I've been doing the TGC, the Gun Collective, for coming up on 8 years now. And we have kind of two mainstays right now in terms of content. There is TGC News, which is a weekly roundup of whatever's latest and greatest in the gun industry, and that could be product driven, that could be actual industry news within companies, and a little bit around there. And I try to keep it lighthearted. I try to keep it fun to watch. The 60-second thing, I had to teach myself how to do that. Luckily, I have a great video editor, and I have the ability to condense things more than some others. So that's a thing. And then we also do some gun reviews right now. Got some other guys doing some guest reviews. We just put up one today on a really, really expensive optic, a scope that makes some silly, silly claims. But we cover a little bit of everything. We cover a little bit of everything. And I've been making content for 11 years, I think. I'm losing track of when I actually got started, but I've been at this for a very long time.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it sounds like it. And from what I've seen, I mean, guys like freaking Tony Simon, who, he's kind of part of that first, second wave. And we were just talking about that. Like you claim to be part of the first and second wave of gun tubers. Wild
Yeah.
claims, just like that scope company. What does that even mean? First and second wave of gun tubers per se.
So I won't say that I was one of the first. I will say that I was fairly early, especially now looking back. I had another channel before the Gun Collective where I tried to do reviews, and they were okay. There were some good videos on that channel, uh, but it was late 2014 that I kind of got sick of doing it, and I had come at it from the wrong angle, and I decided to change directions. And in June of 2015, TGC was born, and the rest is history, for lack of a better way of explaining it.
Fair
But
enough.
that means I was very early on my old channel, and then I got another kick into it in 2015 with TGC.
Yeah. So I mean, you had a what was the name of the original channel? Did you say?
So I didn't say it was called Chaos 311 Clarity. It was a terrible name.
That's a wild name. Chaos
Yeah.
311.
At one point, I
Where did
was
that even come
calling
from?
myself Chaos because that was the easiest. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm Chaos," and like
Oh,
that was how people knew me.
yeah.
And what's really fun is I see guys still making the same mistakes that I made, 10 years ago now. So it's really fun for me to watch some of the newer crop as they come in every year. There's new guys all the time. It's fun for me to go, man, I remember when I did that. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of those mistakes that you would
Oh, geez.
say? I mean, just maybe like top three, if you, or maybe even top one, if you can think about it.
I feel like a lot of people do not think outside of their own mind. And what I mean by that is people get so focused on the thing that's like, they look at the thing right in front of them, and they oftentimes miss the greater picture of the information that they're trying to present, and the greater why of their, what they're trying to present, why they're trying to present it to the person, what they want the other person to take away from that. There's a lot of things that are very easily fixed, in my opinion, but it requires work and effort and thought and understanding and preparation, and not everybody has the time or desire to do that.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it as someone who's done gun reviews on the Armed Atlas YouTube channel, and it's fun to get out there and shoot guns and try things, but there are often questions that come up after the fact in the comment section, and obviously, comment section is kind of hit or miss. I'm
It's usually miss.
yeah,
Let's be fair. Usually terrible.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's usually terrible, but every once in a while, you see somebody come in, present an actual question, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I probably should have thought about that. I wonder. And you go back and you kind of reevaluate and you say, okay, yeah, that's something I should definitely keep in mind for the next review. Or if you have, friends in the industry who maybe they like to check out your content every once in a while, that's just one of those things where it's like, okay, can they give you good feedback? And do you have people like that who you feel, I'm going to use the word safe, like bouncing, ideas off of?
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely. I've got a few friends that either work in the industry or fellow content creators or just buddies that I've known for a long time that I can go, hey, do you think this makes sense? And you can really learn a lot building a sort of cadre of people that you trust. Look at that! What a compliment! Thank you.
What a compliment. One of our listeners who's in the live audience said John is literally top 3 YouTubers ever.
that's, that's
What a
pretty
kind thing to
hefty.
say.
That's a hefty compliment. Thank you.
Right. That's heavy. I love it. But I was just thinking, like, man, I checked out your review on the Equalizer.
Okay.
You didn't enjoy it at first, and then you came back and revisited it, and it's like, okay, well, my initial gripes with the gun, I don't know if they're still there. If I'm not misquoting you.
No, that's accurate. No, we originally compared it to, I believe it was the Shield Plus,
Mm-hmm.
the Smith and Wesson Shield Plus, and when you compare the Equalizer to the Shield Plus, the Equalizer does not come out on top. And from my perspective, if I was going to buy a defensive gun, I would clearly buy the Shield Plus. Better trigger, better operation, more comfortable to shoot, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people said, hey, you compared it to the wrong gun. So we went back out. I happened to have the gun that most people wanted us to compare it to, which is the original Shield EZ. And when you do that comparison, seeing it as sort of a Gen 2 of the EZ is a lot more linear of a thought process. And I said, hey, I think we got this wrong the first time. I'm glad that people called me on it, and now we can make another video and hopefully continue to build trust with the audience.
Now, you said something powerful. Continue to build trust with the audience. Have you ever felt like, and I'm not pointing to any particular thing that may or may not have happened. I really don't know anything like that, so I'm not
Okay.
I'm not saying. But I'm like, was there ever a review or maybe a few videos or maybe one video in particular where somebody was like, the word of choice for everyone who watches a gun video, shill. You're a
Oh,
shill, or
every video. I mean, I like I said, I've been doing it quite a while,
yeah,
and I mean, maybe not every single video because we have shown some guns just fall the heck apart, just fall apart. I have seen that comment about me many, many, many times. It is frustrating sometimes, hilarious other times, and just flat out wrong. A lot of it. Like, I can't think of a time where we got paid for something and I wasn't really clear about that.
right.
I from day one, that was something that I thought was really important to delineate. Like, this is clearly a paid thing that I'm saying out loud, and then this over here is my opinion. Those two are generally not connected.
Do you feel like, and maybe this is kind of getting into the inside baseball of making gun videos. Do you feel like, or have you put yourself in situations where you're allowed to speak more freely and maybe point out negative situations when there is a gun that you're paid to overview or paid to do a presentation on per se?
Sure. So I never allow a company, unless we're doing like an actual promotion, like we do integrated promos where it's like, hey, check out this new product from XYZ company, here's a promo code, that sort of thing. Generally speaking, I won't promote a product that I don't like or don't see value in. um, but when it comes to like our product reviews, there is not a chance in hell that I am going to let somebody dictate what I say or do not say. I give opportunity to fix things along the way a lot of times, but there's never a hey, you can't say this type situation. I don't let the manufacturers dictate that at all. No way.
Yeah, yeah. That's to me that's really important, and I've not done a whole lot of reviews. Like if you look at the list, it's rather short. I feel like we've done a great job with what we've done, but it's
Sure. Yeah.
I just haven't been in the space as long. That said, you sometimes it's like okay, you make friends with a company at an event. Everybody's cool. We go out to dinner and they say, hey, let's send you over something, and you get it, and you're like, it's okay. It's not better than the stock situation, whether it's a trigger or a new gimmick, safe or something like that. And at that point, you have a decision to make. Am I going to be like brutal and just kind of destroy this thing? I mean, maybe you don't do that, but you have a
I mean,
decision to be honest or not.
it depends. There is levels of relationships that someone might have with a brand. And I think it's very smart to manage expectations as a content creator. Hey, here's what's going to happen. Here's what you should expect from me. And I've had products from my friends within the industry in manufacturers where the product has just fallen apart. And like I would with anybody else, I pick up the phone and go, hey, we're on the range. This thing sucks. Here's why. This video has to go out, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to fix it or tell me what to do. Like, and what I mean by tell me what to do is tell me how to make this work. That sort of situation. That has come up several times. And most of our relationships are built on that honesty. Like, I know that I can go to a major manufacturer and say, look, this thing here that I've got in my hand is terrible. Fix it. And generally speaking, they respect that opinion. But I don't know if it would have been the same when I first started. I've been, again, it's just something you build up over time. I'll give you a small example of the trust that I've been able to cultivate within the industry at large. So I went up to SIG in New Hampshire, and we were hanging out with the executives in a little cocktail hour situation. It was kind of weird. I felt out of place, got to be honest. So one of the guys that manages, I believe, their whole pistol program was on hand, and he's always in the videos. Guys, a great. I think it's Phil Strader. Yes, Phil Strader. So he is there, and I don't expect him to know who I am. I don't. But I make fun of SIG all the time for not putting prices on their website. And that came up, and he looks at me and goes, "Don't stop doing that. That crap is hilarious." That is what I would call a trusting relationship with a larger manufacturer, where they go, "You know what? That's pretty funny." And they can take that on the chin and then continue doing what they're doing.
No, that's actually really hilarious because I'm like, okay, so the new Sig P320 Spectre comp, who did what? You know, Bambi 12,000. I'm sure it's a great gun. What price? I don't know. Let's say it's 13 PS5s.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the
Why not?
price. And so
Listen,
I've always found it
make it up.
hilarious when you just make up some sort of yeah, it's a case of my buddy's whiskey. You know, I
That's
think
right.
that's a real example. Um, so yeah, no, that's awesome. And let me lower my levels just a little bit. I think I'm coming in a little hot. Um, I think it's great that you've developed such relationships in the industry where you can speak honestly about things. You can be yourself. People appreciate that about you, and you don't necessarily have to feel like, okay, like if I say one more mean thing about Sig's pricing, or if I say, I feel like Sig just keeps making the same gun in a million different ways, and like what are they doing? Or you say Glock's not innovating, and you're not going to get invited to the next event, and now it's going to ruin your career. I'm glad you've gotten to that point where you feel a little bit better about the situation. Um,
Yeah, and I'm sure I've made some people mad along the way by making those comments. I'm sure. I'm sure I pissed off somebody, some executive somewhere that thought whatever gun was a great idea. I've had people tell me to take down entire videos based on me saying a product wasn't safe or was completely asinine. Like,
have you got a cease and desist yet?
no, because there's no legal
Wow,
standing for that.
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Actually,
go ahead. Tell me cease and desist. The answer is no.
yeah, no, it's hilarious. One of my guys who they're a husband wife duo, and they made a video, and I guess they stated like, hey, we don't feel like this is safe because the gun did something kind of crazy, just real
Okay.
wonky on the range, and they were like, they got a cease and desist. You have to take this down, or we're gonna sue. For
Good luck.
what? Okay, let's go to court. Like this is it's only good for you unless you really don't have money for a lawyer. Then maybe it's not the best. But um, it's one of those things where it's like I think your audience will trust you a little bit more if they know that you're not allowing a company to bully you into
Yeah.
giving a nice review on something that's really not that great.
I entirely agree with that statement. Entirely.
Yeah. Now, now that people hopefully have a kind of a good idea of kind of what you've done, you do the news when it comes to 2A industry stuff. You've done gun reviews. You outsource a few of your gun reviews, so it's not just you and the
Yeah.
epic beard, just straight up lumberjacking over here. Just
Yeah.
Zeus himself. Like what's going on with this beard? I love it, but um, not just that, but you also manage the Instagram page, and you do the van life thing, or I don't know if you do van life, but your life with your van, the battle wagon. I
Yeah,
think
some
that's pretty cool.
variation thereof, whatever you want to call it. I'm
Right.
building what some people would call an adventure van, an overlanding van. I bought a
Yeah.
big sprinter van and I'm turning it into a tiny home so that I can travel and be on my own schedule and my own time and go all over the country and do fun stuff.
I tell you what, there's nothing quite like showing up to an event or going, traveling 10 hours across country and then realizing now I got to check in. And then now there's the mixer at 10. And, it's just like, come on, like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to pull up to wherever you need to pull up and be like, all right, I'm just going to hang out here for a while and relax. So
Yeah.
smart move.
Yeah. I went to that. I think, isn't it where we met at the XCal thing, right? Am I misremembering? To
X.
quote Joe Biden? No. Okay. So the Guns Out TV event in Virginia, uh,
Mm-mm.
I slept in my van, and because a few hours away, I slept in the freaking van, and people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sleeping in a parking lot. It's great. I can just wake up and open the door and go do stuff." I mean, it's not a hotel room, and it's not the same yet, but we're getting there.
Awesome. So before we just dive, face first into what is GunCon and can I
Oh boy.
cosplay as Budget Colion Noir, because I've been called that, like I mentioned before, and I thought it was hilarious. You know what? Like you can't do anything but just take that and just be like, fine, it's not a bad.
That's
Eh.
not a bad place to be.
No, it's not. The man's killing it. That said, one of our live viewers, if you're listening on the podcast side, you've got to tune in live because you get to ask questions, and some of them will actually make it into the show. Um, Ask him what's the worst gun he's ever reviewed. Are you able to say that, or will you get taken off of the YouTube, off of Joe Biden's internet?
There are some really, really bad guns. Most of the guns that are the worst I've ever reviewed never end up making it into videos because they just suck that bad.
It just wouldn't even be entertaining to watch. Wow.
Well, it's like we couldn't even complete a review because the gun had to go back.
Dang.
That sort of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had we have an F1 firearms rifle that's chambered in a large caliber that I think we shot maybe 50 rounds, and it was having malfunctions,
Mm.
and it had to go back. Now it's a non-standard cartridge for them, so I won't hold that against them too hard, but there's stuff like that happens all the time. um, in recent memory, the Live Free Armory amp, the aluminum match grade pistol, that was a train wreck. I'm trying to remember. The narrow arms N1 was not great. Man, there's just I think the worst overall thing that I messed with was 224 Valkyrie.
Mm.
So I
I
don't know.
almost bought a gun chambered in that. That was going to be my first
Thank
rifle, and
goodness
someone
you
talked
did
me out of
not.
it. Someone
Right.
talked me out of it.
So I was part of, not part of the launch per se, but I was one of the earlier guys that tried it out. And no matter what configuration we put it in, no matter what rifle, no matter who made it, I couldn't get it to shoot. And what I mean by that is put down tight groups. So, what I expect out of a gun that was claimed to be able to shoot out to 1,000 yards is groups at 100 that are smaller than an inch. And that was never the case, no matter what we did. We tried, and I always tried it with factory ammo. We eventually tried it with hand loads, could not get any of them to shoot. And basically all of these crazy claims that Federal made were just complete nonsense. That was probably the worst.
It's always really interesting to see like ammo manufacturer come out with a brand new cartridge, and it's like, okay, is this the next big thing? Is 9 millimeter, obsolete? No, but they try, which is great. What it was a Federal Super Carry, which
Yeah,
was
the 30
30,
Super Carry. Yeah,
which
that came out not long ago.
it's a cool idea, but I'm not really seeing too many Super Carry guns when I go to classes. So it
You
tells me
won't.
that, right. Yeah, I mean, I think they made like one or two Smith and Wessons in 30 Super Carry, but who else is making them? People are making more 10 mil, and the 10 mil bros, um, which is what's that? The bear hunting caliber. If you're going to go out into nature and you run into a bobcat, I'd rather have 10 mil than
Yeah,
not.
yeah, agreed.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
man.
I've got four. How many 10 mils do I have? 3 or 4? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Something like that. We've got a few 10 mils. I just got the JXP10 from High Point in for review. That should be an interesting one. That should be fun.
JXP10,
Yeah.
man. I actually do want to take a look at those. In fact, I've never actually shot a high point, but I've held them, and they're always really, really interesting. I've actually talked with the guys who who run the tables, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we can get you in on the next release." I'm like, you know what I want to do with whatever they send out? I want to take it and just soup it up like super crazy, put like way too much money into it, and see kind of what happens next. It's content, if anything. I don't know if
So
I'd ever carry it.
give it like what's today? Give it a week or two, and we've got a video for you on TGC.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Give it
that's
a
true.
week.
That's true.
Exclusive. New High Point video coming out. It's going to
I
be
feel like it's not
fire.
that epic of an exclusive unless I have like DJ Clue in the background. You know,
No, I
like
love it.
every time I say exclusive or something, like DJ Clue, 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 you got to get the echo.
Oh man, we got Simon says train in the chat. You know, he's our resident High Point fella. He can outshoot a Marine
Is that
with
true?
his. I don't know, but he is a Marine. But he loves his high points and he does well with them. It's one of
I
those
mean
things.
that's true.
Um, just before we get into this next segment, we're going to take a quick break and talk about something that really does matter to me. As you guys know, if you've been watching the show, if you've been tuning in live with us on these Thursday evenings and sometimes Sundays, kind of keep up with the announcements, guys, you know that we've been raising money for my guy Scout. He was riding his motorcycle to work, and some idiot broke his leg, slammed into him, broke his leg. He barely survived this situation. And guess what? He needs our help. If you guys have a little extra, or if you guys feel that you can contribute, take a look at the pinned comment and see what you can do. Do a little bit of research. I always recommend, anytime someone asks you to spend money, look into what we're talking about first. That said, go ahead and kind of take a look at that, see if this is a cause you want to give towards. He needs help hiring a lawyer so he can hopefully recoup some of the costs that he's going to be incurring. And let's get back to the show. John. So,
Hi, I'm still here.
yes, let's get into it. GunCon. What is GunCon? Who is GunCon for? Can I dress up?
um,
It's not
first
Comic Con.
off,
Okay.
first off, the only way you're allowed to dress up is if you uh, go full force into taking on the persona of Colion Noir. I think that'd be very funny.
It would be
No,
hilarious.
seriously though, like GunCon, I would love it if people, dressed up and all that kind of stuff. I think it's actually an evolution of an event that I used to do. So I started it, I don't remember what year it was. I used to bounce around with the NRA annual meeting and do an event called the TGC panel. And the idea with that event was to bring together some of the top gun video creators, put them on a stage and have a Q&A session that grew over time. We ended up live streaming it. We gave away, I think every year we gave away, tens of thousands of dollars worth of free stuff to the people that showed up. And, as that event grew, the way we brought in brands grew, and then COVID happened, and we had an event planned for Houston. The location pulled the rug out from under us. Terrible, just absolutely frustrating. And we hit pause, and then I decided, we wanted to do it on the East Coast. I was like, I'm tired of chasing the NRA around. They don't care about us. They never really have. Um, and I wanted to do it on the East Coast. So I called up Brownells, who had been the title sponsor for several years. And I said, can we do this? Does it make sense? How do we make this a better event? How do we make it bigger? And they offered up their warehouse, which is in Iowa, of all places, kind of the middle of nowhere, to be fair. And thus GunCon was born. We planned we planned last year's event in 2 months. It was balls to the wall the whole time. And we had a really successful event. It's kind of an amalgamation of, there's little elements of SHOT Show, there's little elements of NRA, there's a regular gun show that we pulled from, the TGC panel that we pulled from. There's elements of all of these different kinds of events. So you have a bunch of content creators. Some of your favorites will be there. You have, we're closing in on 40 companies this year, I think, involved. And then, of course, we have 3 live stream Q&A panels that are going on this year. So we've got an industry panel, the next gen panel, which is sort of your like up and coming or guys that haven't been doing content creation quite as long. And then we have the elite panel, which is guys that have been doing it, 8-10 years. Those will all be live stream Q&A panels. Then we have educational seminars going on. We're going to have an airsoft shoot house in the parking lot and a lot of stuff. There's going to be a cool photo booth. We bring out food trucks. It's a good time, man. It's just a bunch of people having a really good time looking at cool stuff, hanging out, and just having massive, massive fellowship.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic time, and I don't go out to too many events, with just everything. I've got a family. I really can't just be globe trotting,
What
going
do you mean?
from.
You don't want to abandon your family?
Oh, right. Sounds like a bad time waiting to happen.
Yes. Yeah, that's not a great idea.
So there's that, and I'm like, okay, there's only so many events that I'm going to travel to. Like if it's in Texas, I'll make time, but so many events that I'm going to travel to. So I was like, when you mentioned that you had the event, and I was like, oh, my guy John, you've been supportive of the work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I try to make it? So I hit up my camera guy. I was like, Nate, we got to go to this event. Yes, it's kind of in the middle of Egypt, but I think it's going to be worth our time. Yeah.
I mean, I know that it will be worth your time to build relationships. For content creators, we offer a lot more than the stuff I just talked about. There's more opportunity to build with brands and other creators and just create the community that we want. We want a better community all the time, always. And I mean, that the reason the TGC panel started was because I saw a hole in our community, and I said, why isn't anybody doing this? So I picked up that torch and I did it, and that has gotten us to where we're at.
Yeah. I forgot to mention this, but you keep saying the word TGC means the Gun Collective. What is the Gun Collective to you? Like, I know everybody has their interpretation of a name.
TGC was never meant to be just me. It was always intended to be a collective of interesting and knowledgeable people. It was always meant to be that. Presenting information, and we've had a menagerie of folks either directly contributing or being in videos and all those sorts of things, and the Gun Collective is kind of the only way to encompass that. A lot of guys are, the channel is just about them, and I try, and I know largely I am a big chunk of it, but I am always looking for guest contributors and things like that. Like the video I was referencing with the high point, that's actually going to be done by 1911 Syndicate, another really high quality YouTube channel. And, that's kind of what comes from building relationships, opportunities like that. Like, how do we help each other,
Yeah. Actually, now that you say that, I'm trying to like run through that catalog of gun videos that I've seen. And every once in a while, you see like, let's say Honest Outlaw, he'll team up with, was it Pew Pew View or Pew View?
Pew
Trick
View,
Shot
yeah.
guy, Pew
Yeah,
View, who
yeah.
I love his videos. Everybody's always like, the futtery in the comment section's annoying, but whatever. That said, I can appreciate that you've made the channel bigger than yourself, because a lot of YouTubers in general don't have an end game. I don't know that this was your plan, that one day you could retire and continue the Gun Collective on, and other people.
I would assume I had a plan.
But plan or no plan, it sometimes that good idea just works. Like, hey, like if you make it bigger than just you, people can appreciate, especially if you get your audience accustomed to seeing more than just you. It's not some big thing where one day Hickok 45 isn't going to be making videos and his channel's going to die. Like, uh, I don't mean to be the hot take machine, but I don't think his son is as popular as he is, and as many videos as he should have been from the beginning. If you want to do that smooth handoff versus Iraq veteran 8888 Eric, um, they had a team of three, and forgive me, I'm forgetting the gentleman's name who did pass away,
Oh, that's
and
Barry.
Barry,
Yep.
and he was a beloved member, and people miss him, but the channel can continue on. And even with some of their gun gripe stuff, you see other guys rotating in. It's like, okay, well, it is still Eric's project. Like if he wasn't there, it would be weird. But you are used to seeing other people on. So if there's like a one off episode, I'm not gonna just skip it entirely because it's not Iraq veteran 8888. I don't want to see this. You know how people are.
I
I
do.
know how I am. So it's one of those things. So I think that's interesting that you had the idea and just kind of went with it, and it just kind of it can facilitate a future that's not necessarily entirely focused on John Patton. If somebody came in and did the news, as long as they had the energy, and that's my next question: how do you get hyped? What are you on, John? Like, how do you get hyped up enough to spit out 60-second news in literally under 60 seconds, and not have a heart attack?
So, one, editing is wonderful. Editing is a wonderful tool. However, generally speaking, those 60-second gun news things, I roll through that in one take. Generally speaking, every once in a while, like I do the intro separately because I don't think I could catch my breath after going, like I don't think I could do that. But my thing as a person has always been high energy, loud, proud. Like that's just how I am. I like being over the top. And while I'm not always showing it in all of the videos, I feel like at my core, that kind of excitable personality is who I am in a lot of ways, and I like to let that out. And 60-second gun news was a great opportunity for that, especially because it gives me an opportunity to make like a real just sharp jab at people all the time and just make fun of people and have fun. Like I think I said Keltec was on cocaine the other week. That was fun. People laugh at that. Like, really, it's just I want people to laugh and have fun.
I mean, speaking of Caltech being on the stuff, um, what is up with Smith and Wesson copying Caltech's homework, like word for word? I
You
know you've seen
know,
the new gun.
I don't really know what the deal is with that. I wish that it wasn't so obvious what they were doing. I really wish that it was like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's take that idea and turn it into something else instead of let's put an M&P grip on it. That's
which
really
is their which
that's
is their
really it.
thing. They like what was that shotgun they put out? Was it last year, year
The
before?
M&P 12.
The MP12, which is not a direct copy, I guess, but it's
It's
to
pretty
me
close.
when I look at it, I'm like, isn't that the but just with an M&P grip,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
fun grip. I mean, people enjoy the grip, but come on, what I I don't know like what the patents are on this, but I'm assuming that they either have enough lawyers to kind of get through it, or they just they're just like screw it, let's make guns and people are gonna buy
I
them.
don't know. I don't know what I don't know. It just seems
Yeah,
I don't even know what to say about it. I think it's a weird move. I think it's strange. I
yeah.
don't think anybody said, "Hey, Smith and Wesson, you know what we want to see from you? A gun that folds sideways instead of up and down. Let's make it fold sideways. You know what we need? Another 9mm carbine. That's what the world needs."
That
Heavy
was
stuff.
my and when I saw the post on Instagram, I was like, okay, two comments come to mind. I can't put them both out there, but I went with the Keltec is big mad right now. That was my comment. But on the other side, I was thinking like, dang, like who asked for this? Like
Yeah.
who asked? Are people really? have high demand for it. I mean, and that was also my thought when I saw them turn the M&P 2.0 into an all metal gun, and then they went out with then they made their competition gun. I was like, that kind of makes more sense in my
Sure.
mind.
So
But
I'll add a little bit of interesting stuff about the folding gun. So when I back in 2013, 2014, when I was working in gun stores, one of the most popular and most difficult guns to keep in stock, and that is probably still the case, is the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. So knowing that, seeing that opportunity, what's going to happen? People are going to make their own version of it. Hence the gun that came out this week.
yeah, so I guess you see. I suppose the issue with Caltech is they are not Smith and Wesson. They are not, name a company that has a reputation for making really just reliable guns that everybody's like, yo, let's we need to buy this gun. Every single, they have their fans, I would say, but I've heard too many people kind of compare them more to brands like High Point or I would say Taurus, but I think Taurus is kind of maybe getting coming around. Maybe you have an opinion on that. I'm not sure, but
I have lots of opinions. I do.
Yeah.
I think Keltec, when they kind of first came onto the scene, they had a lot of budget-minded guns in their lineup, and like I'm talking lightweight, small 380s, small 9s, things like that. Jason Bacon, you stop it. He said the world wants a braced 50 BMG pistol. Nobody asked for that. I want one, but nobody asked for it.
I'm not going to say
So,
no if they send it.
I think Keltec has had a difficult time shaking the perception of being the cheap brand. They produce an enormous amount of guns down there in Florida, and I think the prevailing winds think that that brand is producing a lot of crap. I have a bunch of Keltecs that I really like. I genuinely like them. I just don't think they've been able to shake that, while Taurus has been putting a lot of effort into shaking that perception, with the advent of the G3 series, the GX4, and some other things that they've attempted to do over the last few years. They've been trying to shake that actively. So, the perception of the brand is always going to be a challenge, and I think Smith and Wesson has the luxury of a century old gun company name. That's a luxury for them.
Yeah, I mean, we even have some guys in the comment section saying that Smith and Wesson doesn't want to become the Springfield or Remington, trying to stay hip with it, per se. Hip? Do the kids still say that? Hip with it?
I don't know. I'm too old to know.
Right. No, that is, I suppose, the interesting thing, and kind of coming from as a kind of a newer content creator and looking at it from my lens and my worldview. I'm seeing Smith and Wesson, and I'm seeing even the people that they choose to collaborate with, and it's like, okay, they're trying to hit markets. They're trying to make sure that their image is a certain way, but not be like too pandering per se. And maybe somebody might say that they are, but I don't know.
I feel
That
like
said,
every
I think it's
company is
interesting.
going through that. Every gun company wants to give off the perception that they are supportive and representing as many types of communities as they can, as many types of people. I think some are better than others at it.
Yeah.
Some definitely pander, but that's kind of the growing pains of a growing community.
Yeah. I mean, the industry isn't the same as it was 5 years ago, and I would say some people would say that it's better for it, but it's been growing, it's been expanding. There's been people that you would have never thought would even sniff gunpowder, and they've got a closet. They got a big old Liberty safe full of just guns.
It's true.
Maybe they don't have enough ammo for their guns, but they got the guns. That's the important.
Yeah,
So
that's always tough.
Yeah, and so I think it is interesting, and I've been in the Reddit communities and kind of looking around and sniffing and seeing like, wait, who all's new to this space, and what are the mindsets? And unfortunately, it's hard to make everyone happy. It's really hard to satisfy um, your old customer base and also some of the newer groups that are coming in. But you know, I suppose like you said, that's the growing pains. Smart Shooter said, "We also didn't ask for that Smith and Wesson 5.7." I don't know. I've not shot it. Have you gotten a chance to try it out?
I have not. I have not. However, uh, I think it's interesting. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting. I want 5.7 to catch on more so that the price of ammunition comes down
Oh
more,
yeah.
thus
I mean, that's the
making
big
it
deal, right?
more.
I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
just
not
super
cheap.
expensive.
It's not cheap. And ballistically, it doesn't really offer all that much out of a handgun.
Right.
Like if we're talking terminal ballistics, it doesn't offer a ton over, like a 22 mag. So the price is tough. Yeah, there's a lot of things going against 5.7 right now, but
Yeah.
it's fun to shoot. It's really fun to shoot.
Yeah. I know a guy who he says one of the gunsmiths that I know. He carries a five FN 5.7, the old one on his hip, and I was like,
Interesting.
oh, that's weird. You know, of all the guns, because he's a big 1911 guy. He makes like custom 1911s with diamonds for the 3 dot sight. You know, like he can do whatever he wants, but he's choosing to carry an FN 5.7 with iron sights. And he says, well, it's because when I'm at church, if something were to happen, I can shoot accurately up to 200 yards. And I'm like, with iron sights? Okay.
I mean, first of all, where in church are you getting a 200-yard shot?
Yeah.
Like, are you in a mega church in South Texas? Like, where are you getting a 200-yard clean shot inside a
Right.
church?
Clean
I think
shot,
that,
200
yeah,
yards.
that is a nonsensical idea to
Right.
even want to take a defensive shot at 200 yards. If you're 200 yards away from somebody in a church, go the other way. Like,
Yeah.
get out of there. Let somebody closer to it handle it.
Right.
Or I mean, if you're a schmoperator, go fucking handle it. But I have shot and connected at 200 yards with iron sights out of that same pistol. Is it a reasonable thing to like have that, like hang your hat on that being why you carry it? No, that's weird. However, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's
But yeah.
possible, I
I mean,
guess. I
we
don't
all
know.
have weird reasons why we do something that is mentally uncomfortable for everybody else, but somehow it's still comforting to us. You know, it's like, well, I'm carrying the instead of carrying a full size gun, I'm going to carry the X macro
Sure.
because 17 rounds out of a gun that's this skinny. I'm like, well, yeah, I actually found that the fatter grip is better for me, and some people need a skinnier grip. I'll give it to them. So, I mean, it's something for everybody, but I think sometimes we come up with reasons on why we carry certain guns and even though they really don't make any sense, like if you really tested it against like logic, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have this thing in their head where they have to justify their choices to
Mm-hmm.
others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very reasonable to say, I carry this because I want to carry it and I like it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to explain more than that. But, we kind of let ourselves down as a community in that way, you know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine buying a Glock 47 and somebody saying like, "Oh, why didn't you just get a 17?"
I
Which
mean, I would say things like that and then go, I mean, carry what you want, but you're
Mhm.
wrong.
Right, right. And at that point, I think it is incumbent upon the party who is being accused of being an idiot to just be like, "It's okay. You can think
Yeah.
what you want, but I'm gonna be all right, regardless." Um, just I do want to kind of touch back on GunCon and make sure that we didn't miss anything. Like if there's anything that is it open to the public? Can people kind of
Oh,
just
yeah.
come and go?
So we are putting tickets up for sale hopefully within a week or two. We're working on the website now.
How much is it to go?
So for the public, the tickets are $25. It's like we're only putting 500 up for sale, and they will go fast. Last year we sold out in, I want to say, like 8 hours, something like that. So they will be gone very quickly.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does sound like where you're looking to run out of space pretty fast. Hope you
yeah.
don't give away my seat, okay?
So content creators, if you're a content creator, reach out to me and we'll see if we can get you on the VIP creator list, which is
Yeah.
separate from the public tickets.
Okay. Just I know there's a few of you in the chat, smart shooters included, who actually I don't know if you saw that episode, but he's come out with a new rifle, a
Oh,
semi Gucci experience. The was it the RA-15, which is another AR-15 variant, but with a little bit extra flavor on it. So I think
I think I saw his video on that on his channel. I think.
huh,
I don't remember. I think so.
yeah,
I went over there and watched a few things.
there you go. Well, I still need to get my hands on it and really kind of take it for a spin. If only my time, if only I had time for all the guns that I want to
That
review.
old thing.
Right,
That old time.
time. I don't even know her.
Yeah.
But so 500 tickets. If they want to get them, they got to go fast. One more time, where can people buy tickets if they want to just come
So
in
the
and support?
website is not currently up, but it will be guncon.net in a few weeks. Stay tuned to my social media and some of the other content creators that are out there. I'm going to have a few people, like basically all at once. I'm going to tell all of the panelists that are on my list to tell all of their fans, and all at once it's going to go, hey, you can buy GunCon tickets, first come first serve.
I mean, they're not that expensive.
No, no.
Which I guess you're not trying to make all the money in the world on it. You do have sponsors for some of this.
Yeah. So the brands pay to be there. We have a range day for creators. We have like a media only range day the day before, and we try to make it as affordable as possible to take part in the event. We don't want it to be a financial burden to take part in
Yeah,
the event.
there you go. Well, real quick, guys, for those who are still with us live, um, sooner rather than later, we are going to transition to like audience Q&A. I did save some of your questions to the side, but if you are still with us, type Q and then colon if you have any more questions. If you want to just fire something in, and we'll take a few questions until you know 10, 20, 30 minutes max. And of course,
I'm going to answer all of the questions. It's going to
literally
be
all the
great.
questions.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, man. Well, we've got a few saved because they were pretty solid
Good.
questions, really about being content creators. And real quick, what's his name? Chapter 22, 22. What is that?
22
Cheapster?
Cheapster.
I
That's
can't
Greg.
read. 22 Cheapster. I'm
I know.
also a
I know,
Cheapster.
Greg.
Oh, Greg. Get a room quick because not many hotels there. So
That
yeah,
is
guys, if you
so
are
accurate.
if you're listening to this right now and the event hasn't already passed, which it's in the summer, so hopefully you're all caught up by then. Get your hotel ASAP. I would say get your hotel before you buy your ticket. I don't know.
I wouldn't say that. However, we
No?
had some people get upset last year because they got a hotel or an Airbnb and then couldn't get a ticket.
Okay, well don't listen to me because I don't know what I'm talking about. But
Just don't
get
be
both at the
upset
same
with
time.
us when
Right.
stuff sells out. No, that's all. Just don't be mad at me.
Or
Because,
or what they could do is become like a content creator overnight and then, send you a DM.
yeah, all it takes is putting in some freaking effort.
Right.
How about that?
Well, it's crazy. There's so many people who they are amazing with firearms or whatever, but they're just not super tech savvy per se. You don't have to be like a genius with a cell phone to make a video of you shooting, but to make it intriguing, to offer a little bit more than the next guy, sometimes you have to know a thing or two. Um, but I know I've known some guys who they could make content.
Sure.
They don't need to get a $2,000-$3,000 camera set up to make something compelling.
I mean, you're carrying a very good camera around in your pocket, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of people who can afford the guns that we see on a regular basis, I'm pretty sure they have at least within 3 generations of the newest iPhone.
Yeah, and that's totally fine, like totally usable.
Hmm. More than
It,
usable. So
and there's something to be said about just making the leap to making content as opposed to trying to make the best content right off the bat. Sure, that would be a great goal to have, but you know, making the content at all matters more than making the best content.
yeah, you're absolutely correct, and it is interesting to see, like, hey, why do you make content? What do you get out of it? Do you want to make a video and put it out there? Who do you want to see it? And I
Sure.
suppose that's something that I want to get into when we hit the Q&A mode. Yeah, I'm just seeing this statement from Smart Shooters. He said we can just sleep in John's van.
That's not true. There's a lot of room in there, but no, get out.
He said not at all. He said, bro,
Nope.
it's not a thing.
Mm-mm,
Stop lying
not a
to the
thing.
people, Smart Shooters. It's not a thing.
You're a dirty liar.
All
You
right,
take it back.
So, guys, if you are watching or listening, stay tuned. I'm going to roll the outro for my podcast listeners. If you just, John, tell people where to find you for those who are still listening on the podcast side.
Sure. So you can find me by going into your Google machine and typing in The Gun Collective, and you will find me. There will be my dumb face somewhere in that search result, and you can click into one of our videos and see what we're all about. That's really it.
There you go. And for those who are watching live, don't go anywhere. I'm rolling the outro. But for those who are listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Hop over to YouTube, subscribe, and I'm going to put the live Q&A up. And of course, if you want to support, Patreon's the best way. There's also going to be links for t-shirts. And guess what? There's actually a link in the podcast description for Blackout Coffee. There is a link. And the Tenacity blend, I should let you know that John's favorite signature blend, Blackout Coffee, the Tenacity blend, that's his signature blend. And
That's true.
I think the Gun Owners of America, they also have a special blend going on right now, which was at $2 of every purchase of their signature or coffee edition goes towards fighting, anti-gun lies and propaganda. And
yeah. Supporting GOA is a fantastic thing, and all you got to do to get in on that and support Aaron or myself or GOA or whoever, or just get yourself some good coffee, you go to blackoutcoffee.com and then use the code, what is it, Atlas 10, I think it is
Atlas 10 for
Atlas
the,
10, and
Atlas
you get
10
yourself
for
a
this show.
discount. Get yourself some good coffee. It'll be rad. You'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm drinking it tonight. I'm enjoying it. This is a little bit of iced coffee for me just because, late at night, I don't want hot coffee. I want iced coffee. Helps me stay up.
Scalding hot coffee at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
It's great.
If you guys have enjoyed John on the podcast side, send him a DM. Let him know. I don't know how often he checks those, but let him know that
Every
you
day.
enjoyed the show. And until next time, keep it costly. All right. So for those who are interested in the live Q&A, let me add John to the left here.
Oh, hey, there I am. Hello.
There we are, guys. Okay, I'm gonna kick my feet up because this is the Q&A part. Like this is
Is that what we're doing? Hold on, let me push the microphone to the other side of the room. Hey,
Right.
Let's go sit back.
It's not nearly as serious. That said,
No.
we have some fun questions lined up for those who are still here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Also, hello, Jason. Hello, Greg. It's nice to see you here.
Jay Weth. I think he was in one of my giveaways.
Oh, cool.
I got. Tell me if that's true. Tell me if I'm lying to the people. How many years of karate did it take for John to get the 60-second chops? Right.
Oh man.
60-second cut nose.
I have screwed myself by doing that because now if I don't do it, people get upset.
Yeah, I'd get upset.
Upset.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what
It's
happened to the
time
thing?
for 60-second gun news.
Don't be boring. I mean,
I
it's
don't
one
know
way to.
why I did that one day. I was just like, all right, here we go. Yeah. And then I just did it and it stuck and people thought it was hilarious.
I mean,
So I keep
were
doing
you
it.
doing dry shots of the coffee pods? Like, what were you doing?
Dude, that's natural John Patton energy.
Of course,
That is all natural.
the patented John Patton energy.
Yes, some variation of that. Yes. No, that's like I don't need caffeine to do that. I'll do that at,
Oh my gosh.
2 a.m.
So
if I have to.
Jason Bacon is saying that you wear Vertex jeans, and he wants to see your fabled high kicks in the Vertex jeans.
Well, Jason, in order to see that, you will have to give me $5,000 because I said so.
Fair enough.
I've known Jason for a long time. There's the Vertex. So I did a promo for Vertex. For context, I'll explain this. So I did a promo for Vertex, and I said that I could do a lot of high kicks in the jeans because they're stretchy. And I didn't actually do one in the promo. So people have been talking about that probably for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'm actually I've touched Vertex jeans at an event. Like I grabbed them and I was like, oh, these are kind of stretchy, like girls' jeans. And then I was like,
I'm wearing
well,
stretchy jeans right now. They're great.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I want my jeans to move with me when I'm doing the
Move
high
with
kicks
me,
and
he
the
said.
karate.
Well, you know what? To be honest, I kind of wish my jeans stretched a little bit too, just because every once in a
See?
while you get in like a weird spot, and it's like, is that it? Is that all I got?
Yeah,
So
you need a little bit more, just a little bit more.
just a little bit, and
So Vertex will be at GunCon, so you can talk to them, and hopefully they'll have some jeans on hand that you can, stretchy and do all that sorts of stuff, and maybe build a relationship with them. That
right.
would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful. Actually, one of the reps, forget, he looks like a European dude. I don't know if he is European.
Looks like what does that mean?
Like
Looks
every
like a
time I
European.
see
He
him, he's
looks
got
he
like
looks
this
like a
like
continent.
yo, stop. You're gonna get me in trouble. Um, I think he did have a bit of an accent, and for some reason, every time I see him, I'm like, MI6, British Secret Service. There's like certain people that you see in life where you're like, you're not from here, and you're a dangerous man. You know?
That with that company, you might be talking to somebody that's real dangerous. You might
Yeah.
be. The gun industry is really good for that. There's a lot of stone cold killers in the gun industry, and I'm
Right.
not saying that like joking around. Like dudes have killed people professionally,
Right.
and now they
And
work in the gun industry.
I mean, the last episode for those who haven't seen it, quick promo for the last episode. You do need to get caught up. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I
You,
don't understand. Why are you not caught up?
yeah. Imagine you're in Chicago. You're like, it's kind of a dangerous place to be right now. It's getting late. You're like, hey, let's go to one of the nicer parts in town. Kind of get away from the noise. Grab a drink. Hang out with some friends. You go. You're hanging out. You're not even drinking. You're just hanging out. And all of a sudden, two young men wearing full mask, only their eyes exposed, come in. They haven't done anything wrong, so you can't just start blasting. But all your red flags are going up. You're like, should I leave, or is this just a style of the youth? You know, because unfortunately, in some neighborhoods and communities, it is a style. Now, one of them's getting kind of agitated, and you're just trying to maybe be part of the de-escalation process because you're not at a point where you have to start shooting people, but it is a little sus to say the least.
Okay.
One of them goes to the bathroom, and on his way there, turns around, pulls out a gun. The other one pulls out a gun as well, and now you have six people at gunpoint, and they're demanding money. What do you do? Don't answer that. Go listen to the last episode of Cosmic Conversations. I think you'll be either shocked or impressed. I mean, I've had people say, "Oh my gosh, like I have goosebumps. My hair on my arm is hanging is standing up." People have been in some wild situations. I've
That
led a
is
pretty
that is
peaceful life,
wild.
but and now
So wait,
coming to
that's a
find
real
out,
story that
this is
somebody
a real
had?
story. This happened to my last guest, Michael Waller Sr. He's one of the poster children for USCCA because they actually supported him in this in this last event. And this is actually his second self defense situation that he's been in as many as 5 years, I believe. Unfortunately,
Well, that's what you get for living in Chicago.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, your numbers kind of go up a little bit when that happens.
Yeah, your opportunity for getting shot goes up when you're in the city of Chicago,
Just
statistically.
goes way up, which is wild. Fortunately, we still have a bunch of questions, and I've been telling my story.
Yay!
I want to make sure you are able to answer, and we don't keep you too long, of course. So, better question: fabled high quicks. We've already answered that question.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, Jason. Where's my 5 grand?
5 grand. It's going to take about 5 stacks to make that happen.
Make that
Smart
shit happen.
shooters. What's the best way to turn down a company who wants to work with you? Say you want to keep the relationship intact, but you're just not a fan of that particular product.
That's easy. That's easy. Just be honest. Like that. I mean, if a company is willing to drop you because you're honest with them, they are not somebody you want to work with anyway.
Yeah.
So you just say, "Hey, that's not something I'm interested in. I don't like that because of X, Y, and Z. Whatever." Be honest. Have that conversation, and I trust that it will go well
Yeah.
because you are being honest. There's plenty of companies where they make products that I don't want to look at. But generally speaking, the goal of a marketing professional is to figure out what you like and what works for your audience as a content creator and then supply you with that item.
No, you're absolutely right. And if you don't have a vision for a product, it's probably best to not take it unless you are confident that you know with a little bit of time you can figure it out. At least in my opinion, maybe you have a different one, John. If you see a product and you're just like, I can't see the purpose in it. You know, are you even letting it come into the PO box? Like,
I mean, I don't know how many videos I've created over the years. I can tell real fast if a product is going to be interesting for me. I
mm,
have that like I could probably tell you what I think about a gun in about 30 seconds,
yeah,
just from experience and repetition. But there's always opportunities, and maybe I don't understand something. It's really about asking questions and being honest with people. I had a phone call earlier tonight where I got on the phone with a AR parts manufacturer, and we just had a conversation about, okay, why did you do this, why is this part like this, how much does it cost, why is it expensive, the answer, asking the genuine questions that you would ask as a consumer. You have that
hmm
opportunity, and if they balk at it, you don't want to work with them.
yeah. In reality, I work with the local range that I'm working with to put on the event that I mentioned to you. They raised their rices. They raised their rices. No, they raised their prices on their transfer fees.
That's a
Um,
European joke.
and, and I was like,
Sorry.
hey, I see your prices went up. It's kind of astronomical. And they're like, yeah. So we actually been running into situations where people go to Palmetto State and order a bunch of really cheap guns, and then we end up spending a lot of time running their transfers. So we're kind of raising the price to kind of discourage certain things because it's just not worth our time. Now at the price that we're marking it at, it is a little bit more worth our time, and we'll be happy to you know accommodate you if that's the case. And it's
Yep.
one of those things where it's like, okay, business decision to better respect your time and how you think about yourself. Am I going to recommend people do a transfer there? No, there's another place that you could do a transfer at. It's not that far away. It's one of those things. Um, Simon says train. He appreciated that you changed your mind on the equalizer. You said you didn't really see a purpose on it. Then you kind of did another video and updated your opinion with additional information, not just randomly out the blue. I like this gun now. You did give some background to it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I try to, I guess, gauge what the audience at large is saying in response to a video. Um, so I saw an opportunity to make another video as a follow up. I said, you know what? Maybe we did get this wrong. Let's go back out and test it with the gun that everybody thinks we should. So we did. And it just happened to work out. It's not always going to be that way, but it happened to work out that time.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that it did, just because there are people who really do want to have an informed opinion about a gun, and honestly, like, it's crazy the amount of people who don't. Um, I've learned this in my pursuit of being a gun tuber per se. People don't always have an extra $500 to buy a different gun because this one didn't work out. So you gotta give them your honest truth, and there's gonna be 5 or 6 other reviews that they can watch to kind of compare.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this will be an important thing for the guys out there creating content. Most of the time, a significant amount of the time, people are not watching reviews prior to purchasing something. They are watching it afterwards.
Yeah,
So they're looking for confirmation. They want to know if they made the correct decision.
yeah, yeah, and maybe this is telling too much about myself, but I'll go watch a movie, and then I'll watch a review on the movie that I just watched. Maybe I'm seeking community in my analytical brain and saying like, oh, did I see the same thing that you saw, or did I spend my 2 hours wisely? And I nearly fell asleep in the middle. Was I the only one? So, so
I mean, you're not alone in that.
yeah,
Lots of people do that kind of stuff.
yeah. I guess that's why spoiler reviews exist.
Right.
Smart Shooter said, I also love some tips for newer content creators. Obviously, you can't give away the farm, but what can you tell people? Tips for new content creators.
Make content that you enjoy. You have to enjoy what you're doing and just keep trying stuff. It may not all work out, it may not all be great,
Hmm.
but keep trying. And maybe you will find something that works for you in whatever variation of content you're creating.
Yeah, I love that. So this, again, Smart Shooters had an interesting questions, tips for keeping thick skin when reading YouTube comments. For me, it's been therapy. You go once every other week, and you feel better, and you have a stronger sense of self. What do you say, John? How did you get over the nasty comments?
I'm not over it. I mean, sometimes people just cut deep. They say
Mm-hmm.
something that's mean
Yep.
or flat out wrong, and that's very frustrating. However, there is a prevailing theory that you should never read the comments anyway.
Well, that's
As a
what Joe
content
Rogan will
creator,
say.
yeah, they're like, don't read the comments. Sometimes there's great stuff. Sometimes there's horrendous stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I like to, if I see something that's completely egregious or ridiculous, I'll screenshot it, send it to a buddy who's also a creator. Hey, look at this garbage that this dude said, or look at this outlandish comment, or send it to like the guy that helps me with reviews, Josh. Hey, dude, like, look at this, dude. Maybe we did something wrong. Maybe this guy has a good point, or maybe he's full of crap. Just
Yeah.
I think processing that stuff and just getting it off your chest, or I mean, that's healthy for me.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for me. It's not, maybe
Yeah.
not for everybody, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I found that I kind of have a way of looking at it. Like I'll tell my wife like something really wild comes up, and I'll be like, I'll try to respond
Can
lovingly
you
and kind of,
believe this asshole?
but
Can
more
you
or
believe?
less.
Yeah,
Like, yo, this man's renting space in my brain. Like, I can't let him do that. But look at
right.
look at what he said. Shaking the
Yeah.
phone.
Sometimes that look at so like sometimes that look at what he said results in a shorter lifespan of that taking up rent in your head
Yeah.
than stewing on it and not
Right.
saying
You're right, because there's been some weird stuff, and I'll tell you what, I responded really politely to somebody who said something wild one time, and I was like, "Why'd you say that? Like, you didn't say anything constructive. You were just being rude." Like, I told somebody that, and they were like, "You know what? You, I've been told that a lot recently. I apologize. Thanks for putting up with me." And I was just like, "I'm not your therapist, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you
yeah.
for
Sometimes if you
apologizing."
check people, they'll be like, "Oh, I was being a jerk." Or what happens sometimes to me is guys will leave a comment late at night, and then I'll respond. Like a recent one, a guy said something like, "Oh, you shouldn't even be doing reviews. You're not as good at reviews as you are at the news." And I said, "Yet here you are. Period. Send. You're here watching it, saying that I'm not as good, but somehow you got here."
Yep.
And he responded and was like, "You know what, dude? I was being a jerk. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. But
It's
it
weird.
happens.
It's. I'm glad that you said that, and I'm glad that you kind of figured it out. So one of the let me just make sure we what. Oh, I'm loving these comments. So, question: is the High Point video coming out? Is that the one with the atrocious inspired? What? Yes,
So, are you familiar with Project Atrocious?
I'm not.
Okay, so it sounds like I need to make another video about that gun. I have an AR-15 pistol called Project Atrocious, and it is horrendous at its core. If you type into YouTube, "I own the world's dumbest AR-15," my video comes up with my gun. It is the way. So I had it Cerakoted, and I called the guy. Said, "Hey, what's it look like? How's it look?" And the way he described it to me was that a gay pride parade ran over a Skittles truck. That's what the gun looks like. Every part's a different color of Cerakote. Every part's a different color, and it has a 4-inch barrel, and it's chambered in 5.56. And for those of you that are unaware, a 5.56 cartridge is 2.2 and change inches long, something like that, which means that of the 4 inches, there is less than 2 inches of rifling.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, useless. It keyholes at like 15 yards. And that means that the bullet's not stabilizing, it's rotating
Hmm.
and hitting the target
Just
sideways.
smacking the paper sideways. Yeah.
Right. So, uh, it is completely dumb. It shoots giant fireballs out of the muzzle, and it's a lot of fun. So that's Project Atrocious.
Just a straight up gay
And
pride hillbilly gun.
yeah, it's dumb. It is 100% stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So I currently I have a High Point C9 that was created in Project Atrocious's image.
Mm.
It has. So I sent it to a guy. So have you seen the guy Mad Pig Customs on Instagram who makes like crazy lever guns?
Mm-mm.
So they're like tactical lever guns.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So that guy's name is Steve, and I said, "Hey Steve, would you do up my High Point for me?" And he said, "Absolutely. What do you want?" I said, "Surprise me." So it comes back, it's rainbow colored, and it has my face as camo. Yeah, it is stupid. It has an RMR, a Trijicon RMR on top. The RMR costs more than the gun. So
That's
that gun
hilarious.
is that's the gun that was being referenced in that comment, and that may or may not be part of the video that I'm talking about. It may or may not
I'm
be.
excited to I'm excited to see it.
It
Somebody
is dumb.
I know that the new Yeet cannon is supposed to have a threaded barrel for comps, but I was like, but what if you suppressed it? They're like the suppressor costs 4, 5, 6 times what the gun cost.
I will tell you this: I will 110%, 110% suppress the Yeet cannon when it comes out. not a doubt.
Why would you not? Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Um,
If it must yeeteth quietly.
my man said, "Have you done radio in the past? You have a voice for it."
Welcome to the radio show. It's me and Aaron here, and we are going to turn it up a notch. No, I haven't done any radio. I'm just an
you might
idiot.
have a future. You might have a future in radio.
you might be able to do that. You might. That's a thing.
You might start your own syndicated radio show. Who knows? All right. It says companies should consider it an opportunity for the end user, basically for end user feedback and honesty versus just gaslighting in them for a poor product. Yes.
And most companies do appreciate the honesty. So there have been guns where I've pointed out something negative about a firearm, and the company's like, "Oh yeah, we saw that too." And they just went forward with the project for whatever reason. Maybe it's not like the most negative thing, or it's something that some guys like and guys don't like. That happens.
Right. Like a forward assist.
Yes, like a forward assist.
Yeah. Jason Bacon. Honey, are you coming to bed? No. There's a fight online that I have to be in.
It's true. I have to be in that fight.
I'm not going to say I've not stayed up way too late engaging in internet shenanigans, but it could have happened, allegedly.
Allegedly it happened.
Allegedly. You have to be careful. You got to say allegedly, or Brett Favre will sue you. So, be careful, guys.
Did you just make a Brett Favre joke?
Yeah. I'm a multifaceted man. I love sports. I love being a dad. I love guns. I love being involved in the community. But yes, old Brett Favre, he's suing Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee because
wait. He's actually suing them?
Yeah. Pat got served. Was it on Sunday?
For what?
I guess Brett Favre was involved allegedly in some sort of scandal down in Mississippi to use some funds or misappropriate funds from I guess for people who are poor. And he's building a school with a big volleyball facility for his daughter. Allegedly, that's what's being accused. And Shannon Sharp, Pat, the city auditor, and maybe somebody else talked about it, and it got under his skin. It hurt his feelings. So he's suing them for, I guess, pain and suffering and telling lies on the internet or something. I don't know. Foolishness.
Yeah, some nonsense.
Some nonsense.
I don't really feel bad for Brett Favre. I got to say that out loud. I don't really feel bad for him, whether that's true or not. As a multi-millionaire, I don't feel bad that people might say something slightly negative against him. If he is, like we have alleged, misappropriating funds. If he is doing that, then he is an utter piece of crap.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice way of saying it. Allegedly a piece of crap. So, guys, thank you so much. I see there's still a few of you here.
If you're still here, I need you to go buy some Blackout coffee, use the code Atlas10, and support this podcast, because that is the way that this will continue happening. If you make this happen by supporting the show, that's how it continues. It's a magical cycle.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the motivation. Then you get more shows and you get more spin-off projects and all sorts of craziness. You would not believe the amount of cool stuff that can happen.
Then you can do an event and people can dress up.
Yeah. People can dress up as, Budget John Patton. Wouldn't that be crazy?
But, I don't even know what that would look like. I'm trying to figure out I'm already a budget version of myself. So what would a budget version of me look like?
He said, I'm already a budget version of myself. Yo, stop, John. Guys, we gotta call it a day. Thank you so much, John, for coming on. People know where to find you at the Gun Collective, pretty much everywhere. Is there anything else you need to share with the people who are still with us?
Thanks for wait, can I curse?
Yeah, do what you want to do.
Okay, I didn't know if this was recorded or whatever. Thanks for giving a shit. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I love the fact that there are so many new content creators trying to find their way, and I am excited to see that continue. And if y'all want to come to GunCon, if you're a content creator, reach out. We'll see if we can figure it out.
There we go. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for watching or listening. Wherever you are, you know what to do. Keep it costly.